Hey there, tonight we're exploring why you probably wouldn't survive a single Viking courtship ritual. Not from the battles or the cold, but from the overwhelming intensity of their romantic traditions. Imagine being swept into a world where love meant proving your worth through trials that would make modern dating seem like child's play. So settle in, close your eyes, and let us guide you through the shocking yet tender world of Viking romance. Before we begin this journey through time, take a deep breath and let yourself sink into comfort, perhaps under soft blankets or in your favorite chair. We're about to explore love stories that have echoed through centuries. If you enjoy these soothing tales from hearts and history, consider subscribing for more gentle adventures through love's most fascinating chapters. Now, let your mind drift back to the rugged shores of ancient Scandinavia. Chapter 1, Drakar Dance, a timeless beginning along the windswept shores of ancient Norway, where granite cliffs meet restless seas. The rhythmic sound of hammers against wood echoes across the harbor. Here, beneath skies painted in shades of pearl and silver, Viking craftsmen shape their magnificent Drakar ships. These vessels, with their graceful dragon heads and sturdy oak hulls, represent more than mere transportation. They are symbols of adventure, courage, and the endless pursuit of honor. The salt-tinged air carries the voices of warriors preparing for another voyage. Their hands, weathered by countless journeys, work with practiced precision. Among these rugged figures, two young souls are about to discover that love can bloom even in the harshest of environments. Thorstein, a promising young shipbuilder with eyes like storm clouds, carefully inspects each plank, while nearby, Ingrid watches from the village edge, her heart racing with unspoken feelings. Ingrid moves gracefully between the weathered buildings, her woolen dress catching the morning breeze. She carries herself with the dignity expected of a Jarl's daughter, yet her eyes betray a longing for something beyond tradition. As she approaches the harbor, the sounds grow louder, the clatter of tools, the creaking of rope, and the deep voices of men calling instructions across the shipyard create a symphony of purposeful activity. Thorstein pauses in his work, wiping sweat from his brow as he senses someone watching. His gaze finds Ingrid standing at the harbor's edge, and for a moment the busy world around them seems to fade. In Viking culture, such glances between unmarried youth carry weight. They speak of intentions that must be proven through deed and courage. The morning sun catches the amber in her hair, and he feels his heart skip like stones across water. The Nordic landscape stretches endlessly around them, fjords carved deep by ancient ice, forests of towering pine and birch, and meadows where wildflowers dance in the wind. This harsh yet beautiful land has shaped a people who value strength but also honor the tender emotions that make life worth living. The Vikings understood that true courage meant opening one's heart, despite the risks that love inevitably brings to any warrior's carefully ordered world. As the day progresses, the shipyard becomes a stage for ancient rituals. Young men demonstrate their skills, not just for practical purposes, but to catch the attention of watchful maidens. Thorsten finds himself working with extra care, knowing that Ingrid observes from her place near the stone well. Each strike of his hammer becomes a declaration, each perfectly fitted joint a testament to the dedication he hopes she might someday appreciate in deeper ways. Ingrid, meanwhile, participates in her own form of courtship display. She weaves intricate patterns into cloth, her fingers moving with the skill passed down through generations of Norse women. Her work is both practical and beautiful, creating sails that will carry ships safely across treacherous seas. In this culture, Such abilities speak of a woman's value as a partner, someone who can contribute strength and wisdom to a household built on mutual respect and shared purpose. The afternoon brings a gentle shower, sending workers scurrying for shelter beneath the great oak trees that line the harbor. Thorstein and Ingrid find themselves sharing the same ancient trunk, its massive branches providing a canopy against the soft rain. For the first time, they speak, their conversation flows like water over smooth stones, touching on dreams of distant shores and the courage required to pursue them. Their words create an invisible bridge between two hearts. Viking society celebrates both individual strength and community bonds. Honor flows not just from personal achievements, but from the ability to support and protect those we cherish. As Thorstein and Ingrid talk, they discover shared values that run deeper than surface attraction. Both understand that love in their world requires more than gentle words. It demands the willingness to face storms together, whether on the open sea or in the challenges of daily life. The rain passes, leaving the world washed clean and gleaming. As evening approaches, the harbor takes on a different quality. Lanterns begin to flicker to life, casting warm pools of golden light across the water. The great Drakkar ships rest peacefully at anchor, their dragon heads seeming to nod in approval of the day's work. It's in this magical twilight hour that something deeper passes between our two young hearts, a recognition of shared destiny. Elder Vikings gather around evening fires, sharing stories of legendary romances that survived impossible odds, tales of lovers who crossed frozen seas, who waded through long winters, who proved their devotion through trials that tested every aspect of their character. These stories aren't mere entertainment, they serve as guides, showing young people like Thorstein and Ingrid what real love demands and what rewards it might offer to those brave enough to pursue it. As the first stars appear above the fjord, Thorstein makes a quiet decision. He approaches Ingrid's father, following the ancient customs that govern courtship in their society. This isn't a simple request for permission. It's the beginning of a series of challenges designed to test not just his worthiness, but his understanding of what it means to truly partner with another soul. The path ahead will require every ounce of courage he possesses. Ingrid senses the change in the evening air, knowing that significant conversations are taking place beyond her hearing. She returns to her family's longhouse with a heart full of hope and uncertainty. The traditions of her people offer structure, but they also demand patience. She must trust that if her feelings for Thorstein are meant to flourish, they will prove strong enough to survive whatever trials lie ahead. Love, after all, grows strongest when tested by time. The chapter closes as sunset paints the sky in shades of rose and gold, reflecting off the calm harbor waters. The great Drakkar ships rock gently at their moorings, as if dreaming of future voyages. Thorstein and Ingrid stand at opposite ends of the village, both gazing at the same glorious sky, both wondering what tomorrow will bring. Their story has only begun, but already the seeds of something extraordinary have been planted in the fertile soil of ancient tradition and timeless love. Chapter 2: Valor's Test, the Trial of Strength. In the heart of the village square, a massive stone waits in silence, weathered by countless winters. Its surface bears the scars of time and legend. Whispers drift through the gathered crowd that this is no ordinary boulder, but a fragment fallen from mighty Thor's hammer itself. Thorstein stands before it, his breath visible in the crisp morning air, knowing that Ingrid's heart may depend on what happens next. The elders watch with knowing eyes as young men approach the stone. For generations, This trial has separated boys from warriors, the worthy from the wanting. Its rough surface tells stories of bloody knuckles and strained backs, of dreams shattered and legends born. Some say the stone grows heavier with each failed attempt, feeding on doubt and fear. Others whisper that it only yields to hearts truly pure in their devotion. Thorstein circles the ancient stone like a wolf studying its prey. His calloused hands trace its unforgiving edges, feeling for the perfect grip. The crowd holds its collective breath as he plants his feet firmly in the earth. Years of sailing treacherous seas and wielding heavy axes have prepared his body for this moment. Yet nothing could prepare his heart for the weight of Ingrid's expectations resting upon his shoulders. With a deep breath that draws strength from his very soul, Thorstein wraps his powerful arms around the stone. Veins bulge along his forearms as he begins the ancient struggle. The first attempt fails, sending him stumbling backward. The stone remains unmoved, as if mocking his efforts, sweat beads on his brow, despite the cool air. And somewhere in the crowd, Ingrid watches with her heart caught between hope and fear. The brutality of Viking trials runs deeper than mere physical strength. They test the very essence of a man's character, his willingness to endure pain for love. Throughout Norse lands, similar stones wait to crush dreams and forge legends. Some warriors have spent years preparing for a single moment like this, their bodies broken, their spirits either tempered like steel or shattered like glass upon the rocks of failure. Thorstein's second attempt brings him closer to victory. The stone shifts slightly, groaning against the earth that has held it captive. Muscles scream in protest as he channels every ounce of determination into his grip. Spectators lean forward, sensing the battle between man and stone has reached its crucial moment. Even the wind seems to hold its breath, waiting to see if love can truly move mountains. The gritty surface of the stone bites into Thorstein's palms, drawing blood that mingles with ancient stains left by countless others. His back arches with the strain as he summons strength from places he never knew existed. The weight of tradition, expectation, and desperate love combines into a force more powerful than any physical burden. Slowly, impossibly, the stone begins to rise from its earthen throne. Around the village square, the air grows thick with anticipation. Children peek between their parents' legs to witness this moment of triumph or defeat. Old women remember their own loves tested by such trials. The smell of morning fires mingles with the scent of determination and fear. Every breath, every heartbeat of the crowd synchronizes with Thorstein's monumental effort to claim his place among the worthy. As the stone rises higher, defying gravity and generations of failures, something shifts in the atmosphere. The crowd's silence becomes reverent rather than skeptical. Even the most hardened warriors feel their hearts quicken at witnessing such raw determination. Thorstein's face contorts with effort, but behind the strain burns an unquenchable flame. Love has given him strength that no amount of training ever could. The stone trembles in his grasp. In Norse culture, such feats of strength were never about the stone itself. They represented a man's ability to bear life's heaviest burdens without breaking, to protect his family through the darkest winters, to stand firm when storms threaten to destroy everything he holds dear. As Thorstein lifts higher, he carries not just stone, but the hopes of every generation that believed in the power of love to conquer all. The climactic moment arrives as the stone reaches chest height. Thorstein's entire body trembles with the effort, every fiber of his being pushed beyond its limits. His vision blurs, but through the haze he catches sight of Ingrid's face. Her eyes shine with pride and something deeper, something that makes every ache in his muscles feel like a song of victory. With a final surge of power, he hoists the stone above his head. Success tastes sweeter than the finest mead as Thorstein holds the stone aloft. The crowd erupts in cheers that echo off the surrounding mountains. He has done what many thought impossible, transforming himself from hopeful suitor to proven warrior. Slowly, carefully, he lowers the stone back to earth. His hands shake not from weakness now, but from the overwhelming realization that he has earned the right to court the woman he loves. As evening approaches, the village transforms from arena to celebration. Long wooden tables appear as if by magic, laden with the finest foods the community can offer. The harsh lines of the trial ground soften under the warm glow of countless torches. What began as a test of individual strength becomes a testament to collective joy. Thorstein's triumph belongs not just to him, but to everyone who dared to believe in love's power. The feast unfolds with all the warmth and abundance that Norse hospitality can muster. Roasted meats fill the air with savory aromas, while fresh bread and churned butter grace every table. Ale flows freely, loosening tongues and lifting spirits. Musicians tune their instruments, while children dart between the benches. The stone that once represented an impossible challenge now serves as a monument to dreams achieved through unwavering determination. Ingrid approaches Thorstein as the celebration reaches its peak. Her smile outshines every torch in the village as she places a gentle hand upon his still trembling arm. Words seem unnecessary in this moment of perfect understanding. Around them, the community celebrates not just his victory, but the beautiful truth that courage and love can overcome any obstacle. Their eyes meet across the flickering candlelight, speaking promises that need no translation. As the night deepens and the feast winds toward its gentle close, the village settles into contented peace. Thorstein and Ingrid sit side by side, their fingers intertwined beneath the table. The stone trial has proven more than strength. It has revealed the depth of commitment that true love demands. In lifting that ancient boulder, Thorstein lifted the foundation for a future filled with shared dreams, mutual respect, and enduring devotion. Chapter 3: Beseeching the Gods, Seeking Divine Favors. As winter deepens around the Norse settlement, Ingrid's heart grows heavy with worry. Thorstein has been gone for weeks now, and the icy winds carry no word of his return. In these moments of uncertainty, when mortal strength feels insufficient, the Vikings turn to powers beyond this realm. Tonight, Ingrid seeks comfort in ancient traditions, preparing to call upon the divine feminine to Freya herself. The flickering flames of her hearth cast dancing shadows on the wooden walls as Ingrid gathers her sacred items. This is no casual prayer, but a formal beseeching that requires careful preparation. Her hands tremble slightly, not from cold, but from the weight of what she's about to undertake. In Viking culture, approaching the gods demanded respect, ritual, and often sacrifice. Tonight, she will offer everything she has to ensure Thorstein's safe return. Freya, the golden-haired goddess of love and fertility, held special significance for Viking women. Unlike the warrior gods who dominated battlefields, Freya understood the tender fears of those left behind. She was protector of marriages, guardian of passionate love, and keeper of half the battle slain. To call upon Freya was to acknowledge that love itself was a form of warfare, requiring its own courage, its own strategies, its own divine intervention when mortal efforts fell short. The Vikings maintained a complex relationship with their pantheon, gods and goddesses, who were neither wholly good nor evil, but magnificently, terrifyingly human in their emotions. These divine beings demanded respect through action, not mere words. They appreciated offerings that demonstrated genuine sacrifice, something precious given freely. Tonight, Ingrid understands this ancient contract between mortal and divine. Her offering will reflect the depth of her love and desperation. She moves to her small altar, carefully arranged in the corner where firelight meets shadow. Here she's placed smooth stones from the beach where Thorstein first kissed her, dried flowers from their wedding wreath, a lock of his hair saved from their first morning together. Each item carries memory, emotion, the invisible threads that bind two souls. This personal shrine will serve as the bridge between her earthly love and Freya's celestial power. The ritual space must be purified before any goddess will listen. Ingrid lights a bundle of dried herbs, sage and juniper gathered during the summer months when their power was strongest. The smoke rises in lazy spirals, carrying her intentions upward toward the realm of the gods. This sacred smoke will cleanse the space of doubt, fear, and any negative energies that might interfere with her prayers, creating a pure channel for divine communication. As the aromatic smoke fills the room, Ingrid's breathing deepens. The scent of burning sage awakens something primal within her, connecting her to countless generations of women who've performed this same ritual. Her grandmother taught her these ways, her grandmother's grandmother before that. This unbroken chain of feminine wisdom stretches back through time, each woman passing sacred knowledge to the next. Tonight, Ingrid becomes part of this ancient sisterhood of divine supplication. She kneels before the altar, her voice soft but steady as she begins to pray. Freya, Golden One, keeper of love's secrets, I come before you not as a stranger, but as one who knows the depths of devotion. Her words flow like honey, sweet and thick with emotion. This isn't the harsh supplication of warrior's prayer, but the tender entreaty of a woman's heart, speaking goddess to goddess, one feminine soul reaching out to another across the veil between worlds. The Viking pantheon recognized the power of feminine divine energy in ways that many cultures did not. Freya commanded her own hall in Asgard, claimed half of all warriors who died in battle, and possessed magical knowledge that even Odin sought. She represented love, not as weakness, but as the ultimate strength, the force that drives men to greatness, that inspires the greatest poetry, that makes life itself worth living and worth protecting at any cost. Viking religious practices blended the mystical with the practical. They understood that gods appreciated both grand gestures and intimate offerings. A warrior might sacrifice a horse before battle, while a mother offered bread and milk for her children's health. These rituals weren't mere superstition, but sophisticated spiritual technology, ways of focusing intention, channeling energy, and creating psychological states that open doorways between the human and divine realms. Tonight, Ingrid employs this ancient wisdom. The sage smoke grows thicker, creating a hazy veil between the mundane world and the sacred. Ingrid's eyes water slightly, but she doesn't move away. This discomfort is part of the process, a physical reminder that true communication with the divine requires sacrifice. The burning herbs release their stored sunlight, their essence rising like prayers made visible. Each wisp carries her love for Thorstein, her fears for his safety, her desperate hope for his return. Her anxiety mingles with hope in the sacred smoke. This is the emotional alchemy of prayer, transforming raw fear into focused intention. Ingrid's heart pounds with the same rhythm as her ancestors' drums during religious ceremonies. She can almost hear their voices joining hers across time, adding their power to her petition. Generations of Viking women who've loved warriors, who've waded through long winters, who've bargained with gods for their beloved's safe return. But words and smoke alone aren't enough for what Ingrid asks. Freya demands demonstration of true sacrifice, something precious given freely to show the depth of devotion. Outside, in the small enclosure behind her dwelling, waits a young lamb, pure white, unblemished, the most perfect offering she can provide. This innocent creature represents purity, humility, and the willingness to give what's most valuable, to prove love's authenticity through meaningful sacrifice. She rises from her knees, moving with ceremonial slowness to where the lamb waits. Its trusting eyes reflect the firelight as she approaches in Viking understanding. This isn't cruelty but sacred exchange. The lamb's life force will carry her prayers directly to Freya's attention. Its pure spirit will plead for Thorstein more eloquently than any human words. This ancient compact between mortal need and divine intervention requires the ultimate offering, life itself. The sacrifice unfolds with quiet reverence, performed with the skill her grandmother taught her, swift and merciful, honoring both the lamb's gift and Freya's requirements. The offering completed, Ingrid returns to her altar where the sacred smoke still rises. She places her bloodied hands on Thorstein's hair, creating a tangible connection between sacrifice and petition. Now the goddess must decide whether love this pure, offered so humbly, deserves divine intervention. As the sage smoke finally dissipates, Ingrid feels a strange peace settle over her anxious heart. The ritual is complete, the offering made, her petition formally delivered to the realm of the gods. Now begins the hardest part. Waiting, trusting, believing that her sacrifice has been accepted. Somewhere beyond mortal sight, forces have been set in motion, events that will determine not just Thorstein's fate, but the future of their love story. The gods have heard. In the depths of Nordic summer, when darkness never truly falls, two hearts beat against the constraints of ancient law. Thorstein waits in the shadow of towering pines, his breath visible in the cool air. Footsteps approach on moss-covered ground, soft as whispers. Ingrid emerges from the forest, her cloak pulled tight, eyes darting for watching faces. This meeting defies everything their people hold sacred, yet love knows no boundaries, recognizes no rules. Their forbidden romance blooms in secret. The midnight sun hangs low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Under this eternal twilight, lovers become rebels, stealing moments that society would never grant them. Thorstein reaches for Ingrid's hand, his calloused fingers trembling against her smooth palm. She does not pull away, though every instinct warns of danger. Here, beneath the watchful eye of heaven itself, they dare to touch, to hope, to dream of a future written in starlight. Their love exists in the spaces between tradition and desire, where Viking customs demand public courtship, elaborate displays of strength and worthiness. Yet here they stand, choosing intimacy over spectacle, choosing each other over expectation. Ingrid's voice barely rises above the whisper of wind through branches. She speaks of her father's plans, the suitor he has chosen, the marriage contract already drawn. Thorstein's jaw tightens, but his touch remains gentle, protective, promising, without words to fight for what they've found. The yearning between them fills the forest clearing like morning mist, heavy, tangible, impossible to ignore. Every glance carries the weight of unspoken vows, every shared breath speaks of devotion that transcends the boundaries their world has built. Thorstein tells her of the sea voyages he dreams of avoiding, the raids that would take him far from her side. His voice carries the ache of a man torn between duty and desire, between the warrior he was born to be and the lover he longs to become. Their conversation flows like water over ancient stones, natural and soothing, despite the tension that surrounds them. Ingrid speaks of the tapestries she weaves in her father's hall, how she stitches their story into the threads when no one watches, hidden symbols of love, woven into patterns that tell a different tale to those who know how to look. Thorstein smiles at her cleverness, her quiet rebellion disguised as dutiful craft, in a world that values strength above all. She shows him different kinds of courage. Promises tumble from their lips like prayers whispered to ancient gods. Thorstein vows to speak with her father, to offer himself as suitor despite his modest holdings. Ingrid promises to wait, to resist the arrangements others would make for her heart. These are dangerous words in a society where family honor and political alliances matter more than personal desire. Yet under the eternal sun, with only the trees as witnesses, they bind themselves with oaths more sacred than any ceremony their people could devise. Fear creeps into their sanctuary, like frost at winter's edge. Every rustling leaf might hide a watching eye. Every distant sound could herald discovery. Ingrid's hand tightens in Thorstein's as she imagines her father's rage, the shame that would fall upon her family name. Thorstein thinks of exile, of being cast out from the only home he has ever known. Yet neither suggests retreat, neither speaks of ending what they have begun. Love makes rebels of them both, brave and foolish in equal measure. When Thorstein lifts his hand to trace the curve of Ingrid's cheek, she trembles like a leaf in autumn wind, not from cold, but from the overwhelming tenderness of the gesture. In a world where touch between unmarried souls is forbidden, this simple caress carries the power of revolution. Her skin warms beneath his fingertips, and for a moment, all the rules and restrictions fade away. They exist only as two hearts beating in unison, two souls recognizing their perfect match despite every obstacle. Their love is a force of disruption in the carefully ordered world of their ancestors. It challenges the ancient ways, questions the wisdom of marriages arranged for wealth and alliance rather than affection. Ingrid speaks softly of her dreams, visions of a life where love guides choice, where hearts are free to follow their deepest longings. Thorstein listens with wonder, seeing in her words a future neither of them was taught to imagine. Together, they envision a revolution written in whispers and sealed with stolen kisses. The very rituals that bind their society also strengthen their resolve. Each ceremony they must navigate separately only proves how much they belong together. Ingrid tells of the feast where she must smile at her father's chosen suitor, how she counts the minutes until she can escape, to dream of Thorstein. Instead, he shares the weight of performing strength and valor for others, when his heart yearns only for quiet moments like this. Their traditions may separate them, but also teach them the true value of what they've found. The midnight sun creates a world outside of time, where normal rules seem suspended in the golden light. Here, in this eternal twilight, anything feels possible. Ingrid's hair catches the amber glow as she turns to face Thorstein fully, her eyes bright with tears and determination. She speaks of running away, of finding a place where their love could flourish without shame or secrecy. Thorstein's heart races at the thought, even as practical concerns cloud his mind. Could they truly build a life beyond the reach of family obligation? Their words weave together like threads in one of Ingrid's tapestries, creating something beautiful and strong from separate strands. They speak of children they might have, of growing old together under northern skies, of building traditions that honor love above all else. These are dangerous dreams in their world, yet they cannot stop themselves from imagining. Thorstein describes the small farm he could claim with enough hard work, the peaceful life they could create far from the politics of the great halls. As time flows around them like a gentle stream, the weight of their situation grows heavier. They cannot hide forever in forest clearings and stolen moments. Soon, Ingrid must return to her father's hall, must play the role of dutiful daughter, while her heart rebels against every expectation. Thorstein must face the long ships and the call to adventure that every young Viking man answers. Their love exists in the spaces between these obligations, precious and fragile as winter's first flowers blooming beneath the snow. The sun begins its slow journey toward what passes for dawn in the Nordic summer, the light shifting from deep amber to pale gold. This change signals the approaching end of their secret meeting. Ingrid notices first, her eyes following the sun's movement with growing anxiety. Soon servants will wake in her father's hall, and her absence might be discovered. Thorstein sees her worry, feels his own chest tighten with the knowledge that their time together grows short. Every moment now becomes infinitely precious. The risk of discovery hangs between them like a blade, sharp and threatening. With each passing moment, the chance grows that someone will notice Ingrid's empty bed, that an early rising thrall might spot Thorstein returning from the forest. They both feel it, this gathering storm of consequence. Yet neither can bear to say goodbye, to break the spell that holds them in this perfect, dangerous moment. Instead, they hold each other tighter, as if closeness alone could protect them from the world's judgment. As the light continues to brighten, casting longer shadows through the trees, their secret feels increasingly fragile, like morning dew that vanishes at the first touch of full sunlight. Ingrid must go, must slip back to her father's hall before her absence raises questions she cannot answer. Thorstein must return to his own duties, carrying their love like a hidden flame in his chest. They part with whispered promises and one last desperate kiss, both knowing that their next meeting is far from certain, their future balanced on the edge of discovery. The first light of dawn creeps through the wooden shutters of Ingrid's family home, casting long shadows across the earthen floor. But this morning brings no gentle awakening. Instead, heavy footsteps echo through the hall as her father returns early from his journey. His weathered face dark with suspicion, the air grows thick with unspoken tension, as secrets that thrived in darkness now tremble before the harsh light of discovery. Ingrid's father stands in the doorway, his massive frame blocking the golden morning light. His eyes sweep the room with the keen instincts of a man who has survived countless battles. He notices the displaced furs, the lingering scent of another's presence. His jaw tightens as understanding dawns, the careful arrangements of his daughter's courtship, the alliances he had planned, all now hanging in the balance of this silent moment. When confronted, Ingrid lifts her chin with the quiet defiance that runs in her bloodline. She speaks Thorstein's name with a tenderness that cuts through her father's anger like a blade through silk, her voice steady despite the storm gathering in the room. She tells him of their love, of the promises they have made beneath the stars, of a bond that transcends the careful negotiations of arranged marriages. Her father's voice rumbles like distant thunder across the fjords. Disappointment weighs heavier in his words than anger. He speaks of honor, of the delicate web of alliances that keep their clans strong through harsh winters and hostile neighbors. He reminds her that love must serve the greater good, that personal desires cannot eclipse the survival of their people. Yet beneath his stern words, a father's heart struggles. The confrontation reaches Thorstein before the sun climbs much higher. Word travels quickly through the close-knit settlement. He arrives to find the household in turmoil, servants moving with nervous energy, whispered conversations falling silent as he passes. When he enters the main hall, he faces not just one man's anger, but the weight of an entire community's expectations, their traditions, their unspoken laws about love and duty. Face to face with Ingrid's father, Thorstein stands tall, his young shoulders carrying the burden of his choices with quiet dignity. He does not deny their love. Instead, he speaks of it with reverence, describing how their bond has made him a better man, a more worthy member of their community. His sincerity cuts through some of the older man's rage, but honor, once questioned, demands satisfaction. In Viking society, matters of honor could not be left to simmer like a pot over dying embers. They required resolution, swift and decisive. Ingrid's father speaks the ancient words that have settled disputes for generations. He calls for holmgang, the sacred duel that would determine not just the fate of two lovers, but the very question of whether passion could override the careful order that kept their world stable. Holmgang, the word hangs in the air like morning mist over still water. It speaks of an older way, when disputes were settled with sword and shield rather than lengthy negotiations. The challenger and the challenged would meet on a small island or marked ground, there to fight until honor was satisfied, or until one could fight no more. It was both brutal and elegant, a reflection of Viking values themselves. Thorstein's acceptance comes without hesitation, though his voice carries the weight of what this means. He knows the risks, understands that this duel could end his dreams of a life with Ingrid. Yet he also knows that to refuse would mark him as a coward, would poison any chance they might have had. So he speaks the words of acceptance, sealing both their fates with ancient honor. The news spreads through the settlement like ripples across a disturbed pond. People emerge from their homes, drawn by the gravity of what is about to unfold. Some remember other holmgangs from years past, the tension, the aftermath. Others whisper about the young couple, whose love has brought them to this moment. There is sympathy in some voices, stern approval in others, all recognizing the weight of tradition. Ingrid watches the preparations with a heart torn between pride and terror. She sees Thorstein sharpening his blade with steady hands, his face calm as a summer lake. But she knows him well enough to see the storm beneath his composure. She wants to run to him, to beg him not to fight, to find some other way. Yet she also knows that he fights not just for her, but for his place in their world. The sacred ground is prepared according to ancient custom, a square marked out with hazel rods driven into the earth. Within this boundary, two men will test their strength, their skill, their very destiny. The rules are simple, but absolute. 3 shields each, their swords, their courage. The gods themselves would judge who had spoken truth, who deserved to walk away with honor intact. As the appointed time draws near, Ingrid and Thorstein steal a moment together, hidden from watching eyes in the shadow of her family's storehouse. No words can capture the depth of their fear and love. They hold each other as if trying to memorize every heartbeat, every breath, knowing that when dawn comes again, their world will have changed forever, one way or another. The night before the duel stretches endlessly. Sleep comes fitfully to both households, dreams filled with the clash of steel and uncertain outcomes. Mothers sharpen weapons while murmuring prayers to the old gods. Fathers contemplate the wisdom of customs that seemed clearer in younger days, and two young hearts beat out the rhythm of love and fear, intertwined like braided rope. When morning breaks over the fjord, it brings with it the weight of destiny. The community gathers in hushed anticipation, creating a circle around the sacred ground where honor will be tested. Ingrid stands apart, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles show white, watching as the two most important men in her life prepare to determine her future with blade and blood, tradition demanding its price. And so we leave our lovers on the edge of fate, the morning sun casting long shadows across the dueling ground, the whole community holding its breath, love and honor about to collide in the ancient way of their people, the outcome uncertain, the stakes higher than any mountain peak, as we prepare to witness whether passion can triumph over tradition in the unforgiving world of the Vikings. Chapter 6: A Warrior's Medal. Preparations for the duel. The morning mist clings to the fjord as Thorstein stands at the water's edge, his breath visible in the crisp air. Today begins his transformation from lover to warrior. The weight of Sigurd's honor rests upon his shoulders like a heavy cloak. He knows that in 3 days' time, steel will ring against steel, and only one man will walk away. The preparation must begin now, every moment sacred. From the shadows of the great hall emerges Arnvid, a grizzled warrior whose scars tell stories of countless battles. His weathered hands have guided many young men through their first taste of combat. He approaches Thorstein with the slow, measured gait of experience. "Boy," he says, his voice like grinding stone, "love may have brought you here, but skill alone will take you home. The lesson begins with respect for the blade." In Viking culture, the warrior's path was sacred, passed down through generations like precious heirlooms. Arnvid explains how combat was not mere violence, but an art form, a dance between life and death that required both physical prowess and mental fortitude. "A true warrior fights not with anger," he tells Thorstein, "but with the cold clarity of winter ice." The old ways demanded discipline above all, honor carved through dedication. The training ground becomes their temple, where Arnvid demonstrates the fundamental stances that have kept warriors alive for centuries: feet planted like tree roots, weight distributed for perfect balance. "Watch how the shield becomes an extension of your arm," he instructs, showing Thorstein the subtle movements that mean the difference between victory and defeat, each gesture practiced until muscle memory takes over, precision born from endless repetition. But preparation extends beyond the physical. Arnvid leads Thorstein to understand the warrior's mind. "Fear will come," he warns, "like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. The key is not to banish it, but to make it your ally." He teaches breathing techniques passed down from ancient berserkers, ways to find calm in chaos, to center the spirit when death whispers close. Mental armor as important as steel. The forge blazes with sacred fire. Here, weapons are not merely made, but born. Thorstein watches the smith work iron into something magnificent, each hammer blow ringing like a prayer, sparks dancing in the darkness like fallen stars. "A blade must be forged with purpose," Arnvid explains. "It carries the warrior's intent, his honor, his very soul." The metal glows white hot, transforming under skilled hands into something deadly beautiful. Hour after hour, the shaping continues. The blade emerges slowly from raw iron, like a butterfly from its chrysalis. Thorstein learns that weapon making is meditation, requiring patience that rivals the eternal mountains. Each fold of the metal adds strength. Each cooling and reheating builds character. See how the steel speaks to us, Arnvid murmurs. It tells us when it's ready, when it has found its true form. Patience rewarded with perfection. The finished blade sings as it cuts through air, its balance perfect in Thorstein's grip. Arnvid nods approvingly as his student tests the weapon's weight and reach. Feel how it becomes part of you, he instructs. A true warrior and his blade are one spirit in two forms. They practice basic cuts against bundled straw, each swing building confidence. The swords whisper through air, like wind through wheat, deadly grace made manifest. Physical conditioning begins at dawn's first light. Thorstein's muscles protest as Arnvid pushes him beyond comfortable limits, lifting stones, running along the shoreline, building the endurance that could save his life. Your opponent will test your strength, Arnvid explains between exercises. But more importantly, he will test your will to continue when strength fails. Sweat mingles with determination, the body forged like steel. The dance of combat unfolds like ancient poetry. Arnvid demonstrates how each movement flows into the next, attack becoming defense, defense transforming into counterattack. See the rhythm, he instructs, like the tide that ebbs and flows, never forced, always natural. And Thorstein practices the sequences, his body slowly learning the language of war, each step rehearsed until it becomes instinct, beauty hiding within the brutality of combat. As evening approaches, doubt creeps into Thorstein's heart, like shadow. Arnvid recognizes the signs, the hesitation in his student's movements, the distant look in his eyes. Fear is normal, he says gently. Even the greatest warriors feel it. And what matters is what you do with that fear. They sit by the fire, sharing stories of courage found in the darkest moments, wisdom passed from warrior to warrior. The weight of responsibility settles heavy on Thorstein's shoulders. Sigurd's honor, his family's reputation, the expectations of his entire village, all hanging in the balance of tomorrow's fight. Arnvid sees the burden in his student's eyes. Remember why you fight, he counsels, not for glory or pride, but for love that gives a man strength beyond measure. Purpose becomes his armor against despair. The final preparations take on ritual significance. Thorstein cleans his sword with reverent care, each stroke of the cloth like a prayer. Arnvid helps him adjust his leather armor, checking every strap and buckle. These moments before battle are sacred, the old warrior explains. When a man looks into his own heart and decides who he truly is, the mundane transformed into ceremony. Night falls like a heavy blanket over the settlement. Thorstein finds sleep elusive, his mind replaying every lesson, every movement, every word of wisdom Arnvid has shared. Through his window, stars shine down like the eyes of ancestors, watching, waiting, blessing or judging. He thinks of Sigrid, her smile worth any price, any risk, love stronger than fear of death. In the depths of night, Thorstein finally finds peace, not the peace of certainty, but the quiet acceptance of whatever tomorrow might bring. He has trained his body, sharpened his mind, prepared his spirit. What more can any warrior do? Arnvid's teachings echo in his heart. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action despite fear, ready to face destiny. Dawn's first light creeps across the fjord like spilled silver. Thorstein rises from his restless sleep. Today is the day. All preparation leads to this moment. He can hear the village stirring, Whispers carrying on the morning breeze. Arnvid appears at his door, a silent nod of encouragement. The warrior's path has led them here, to this threshold between preparation and trial. The duel awaits. Chapter 7. Rituals of War. Dawn of the Duel. The first light of dawn creeps across the Nordic landscape, painting the sky in soft shades of amber and rose. In the sacred grove, ancient oaks stand witness to what is about to unfold. Today, honor will be decided not through words or politics, but through the ancient ritual of holmgang, the formal duel that has governed Viking justice for generations beyond memory. The air carries the scent of pine and morning mist, while somewhere in the distance a raven calls, perhaps a messenger from Odin himself. Thorstein stands at the edge of the designated ground, his breath visible in the cool air, his heart beats steady and strong, knowing that today will determine not just his fate, but the fate of those he holds dear. The rules of holmgang are as old as the gods themselves, carved into tradition through countless generations. A square marked by 4 stones defines the sacred space. Neither warrior may step beyond these boundaries without facing dishonor worse than death. The ritual demands respect, precision, and unwavering courage from all who dare to enter this ancient circle of judgment. Ingrid watches from among the gathered crowd, her hands clasped tightly, knuckles pale against her woolen cloak. She has witnessed many things in her life, but never has she felt such weight in the morning air. Her heart whispers prayers to the Norns, those mysterious weavers of fate, hoping they might guide Thorstein's blade. True this day, the village elder steps forward, his voice carrying the authority of countless years. He recites the ancient words that sanctify the ground, making it sacred in the eyes of both gods and mortals. Each syllable resonates through the clearing, binding all present to honor the outcome, whatever that outcome may be. This is more than combat. This is divine judgment made manifest. Both warriors must bring their own shields, crafted from sturdy linden wood and bound with iron. These are not merely tools of defense, but symbols of their readiness to face destiny. The shields bear the marks of their makers, blessed by the community that raised each man. In holmgang, no warrior fights alone. They carry their ancestors' strength with them. The drums begin their steady rhythm, low and deep, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Each beat seems to sync with the pulse of those watching, creating a shared rhythm that binds the community together. This is not entertainment, but sacred ceremony. The drumbeat calls to Odin, inviting the All-Father to witness and judge what unfolds within the sacred square. Thorstein's opponent stands ready, his own blade gleaming in the growing daylight. Both men know the rules by heart. 3 shields each warrior may use, and when the third is broken or lost, the duel must continue with weapons alone. This is the moment when skill, courage, and perhaps divine favor will determine who stands victorious when the sun climbs higher. The chanting begins, voices rising and falling like waves upon a distant shore. Ancient words in the old tongue fill the air, calling upon gods and spirits to witness this test of honor. The sound wraps around the clearing like an invisible cloak, transforming this simple grove into a sacred space where mortal conflicts meet divine judgment. A single raven lands on the branch above, its dark eyes watching with an intelligence that seems almost human. See, the bird tilts its head, and for a moment the entire gathering falls silent. Ravens are Odin's messengers, his eyes and ears in the mortal world. Perhaps the All-Father himself has come to witness this moment when honor and destiny collide. The first shield splinters with a sound like thunder. Wood and iron fragments scatter across the sacred ground. Both warriors step back, assessing, breathing hard but steady. The crowd remains perfectly still, understanding that any disruption could anger the gods. This is the dance of fate itself, playing out according to rules older than memory. Ingrid closes her eyes briefly, sending her thoughts skyward. She thinks of all the quiet moments she and Thorstein have shared, the gentle conversations by firelight, the comfortable silences while watching the northern stars. She opens her eyes again, determined to witness whatever the Norns have woven for this day, no matter how her heart might ache. The second shields clash and hold, neither warrior yielding ground within the sacred square. Sweat glistens on their brows, despite the cool morning air. The drums continue their eternal rhythm, while the crowd holds its collective breath. This is the moment when training meets destiny, when years of preparation face the ultimate test of courage and skill. Steel rings against steel, in a song as old as warfare itself. The sound echoes through the grove, mixing with the chanting voices and steady drums. Both warriors move with the grace of men who have trained for this moment their entire lives. Every step, every swing, every block is performed with the precision of sacred ritual. The final shields fall away, leaving only blade against blade in the growing daylight. The raven above calls once, sharp and clear, as if announcing the climax of this ancient drama. Time seems to slow as both warriors circle each other within the sacred square, knowing that the next few moments will determine honor, justice, and perhaps even love itself. The blades meet one final time with a sound that seems to shake the very foundations of the earth. The clash reverberates through the grove, through the hearts of all who witness it. In this moment, the ancient ways of Viking justice reach their conclusion, the outcome sealed by gods, guided by fate, and witnessed by those who understand that some matters can only be decided by steel. Chapter 8, Clashing Steel, a Fight for Honor. The morning air grows thick with tension as two warriors face each other in the sacred circle. Thorstein stands steady, his weathered hands gripping the hilt of his blade. Across from him, his challenger sneers with confidence. The crowd falls silent, their breath visible in the crisp dawn. This is no mere contest of strength. This is a battle for love itself, where honor and devotion will be tested by fire and steel. The first clash rings out like thunder across the settlement. Steel meets steel in a shower of sparks that dance through the morning light. Both warriors circle each other with predatory grace. Their boots crunch against the frost-covered earth. Thorstein's opponent lunges forward with a brutal overhead strike, but our hero sidesteps with fluid precision. The crowd gasps as the mist blow sends tremors through the ground. Already, sweat beads on their brows despite the cold. Raw grunts of effort echo through the air as the two fighters engage in earnest. There's something primal about this dance of blades, something that speaks to the very heart of Viking culture. Thorstein parries a vicious swing, the impact reverberating up his arms. His muscles strain against the force, but in his mind, he carries the image of Ingrid's gentle face, her soft eyes watching from the crowd. This thought becomes his shield, stronger than any armor. The ferocity of their combat is breathtaking to witness. Each strike carries the weight of tradition, of honor passed down through generations. Thorstein's blade whistles through the air in a perfect arc. His opponent barely deflects it. Stumbling backward, the crowd murmurs with growing excitement. These are warriors in their truest form, channeling centuries of Viking prowess into every movement, yet beneath the violence lies something beautiful, the pure determination of a man fighting for love. Blood begins to flow as the duel intensifies. A shallow cut appears on Thorstein's cheek. Another graces his opponent's arm, but neither warrior yields. Their breathing grows heavy, visible in great puffs of steam. The clashing of steel creates a rhythm all its own, like a deadly song that speaks of courage and sacrifice. Thorstein's heart pounds not with fear, but with purpose. Every strike he delivers is a declaration, every parry a promise to the woman he loves. The crowd begins to sense the tide of battle. Thorstein moves with increasing confidence, his blade finding its mark more often. His opponent's arrogance slowly transforms into desperate determination. Sweat mingles with blood on both warriors' faces. Their tunics are torn and stained. Yet there's an odd beauty in their struggle. Two men testing the very limits of their strength, while somewhere in the watching crowd, Ingrid's heart beats in perfect time with each clash of steel. Resilience defines this moment. As both fighters refuse to surrender, Thorstein's arms ache with exhaustion, but his spirit remains unbroken. He thinks of every gentle touch Ingrid has shared with him, every whispered word of encouragement. These memories fuel his strikes with renewed vigor. His opponent staggers under a particularly powerful blow. The crowd begins to stir with anticipation, sensing that this ancient ritual of honor is approaching its climactic moment. Love, it seems, provides the strongest armor of all. The decisive moment arrives like lightning across a darkened sky. Thorstein's opponent overextends in a desperate gambit, leaving himself vulnerable for just a heartbeat. But a heartbeat is all our hero needs. His blade moves with surgical precision, not to kill, but to claim victory with honor. The steel finds its mark. His challenger's weapon flies from nerveless fingers, falling to the earth with a metallic song. The duel is won through skill, determination, and the power of true love. Silence blankets the settlement for a breathless moment. Thorstein stands over his defeated opponent, chest heaving with exertion. His blade gleams in the morning light. Then the stillness explodes into celebration. Voices rise in a thunderous cheer that seems to shake the very mountains. This is more than victory in combat. This is the triumph of honor over pride, of love over mere desire. The crowd surges forward, their faces bright with joy and admiration. A hero has been born this day. Through the celebrating crowd, a figure moves with graceful urgency. Ingrid pushes past the cheering warriors, her eyes fixed solely on Thorstein. Her heart pounds with relief and overwhelming love. This man has just risked everything for her honor, fought with courage that would make the gods themselves proud. As she draws closer, she sees the cuts and bruises that mark his victory. But more importantly, she sees the gentle soul that remains unchanged beneath the warrior's exterior. Love has truly conquered all. Thorstein drops his blade and opens his arms as Ingrid reaches him. Their embrace is tender, despite the violence that has just ended. The crowd's cheering becomes a distant sound as these two souls reconnect. Her tears of relief dampen his torn tunic. His strong arms hold her as if she might disappear like morning mist. This moment crystallizes everything beautiful about Viking culture. Beneath the reputation for fierce warfare lies an equally fierce capacity for love and devotion. The morning sun climbs higher, casting golden light over this scene of triumph. Thorstein's victory represents more than personal success. It speaks to the very heart of what it means to be Viking, to face challenges with courage, to honor tradition while following your heart. The defeated challenger even nods with grudging respect, recognizing that he has been bested not just by skill, but by the pure motivation that comes only from true love. Honor has been satisfied on all sides. As the celebration continues around them, Thorstein and Ingrid share a moment of perfect peace. Her gentle hands examine his wounds with tender concern. His eyes reflect a deep contentment that comes from keeping his promise. The brutal duel has ended, but something beautiful has begun. Their love, tested by fire and steel, has emerged stronger than ever. The crowd begins to disperse, but the memory of this day will live forever in the settlement's oral traditions. The clashing steel falls silent, but its echoes will resonate through generations. Thorstein has proven that love and honor are not opposing forces, but complementary strengths. His victory serves as inspiration for every young Viking who dreams of finding their own true love. The brutal demonstration of strength has revealed the even greater power of devotion. As morning gives way to afternoon, the couple walks together through the settlement, their bond unbreakable as forged steel. This fight for honor illuminates the beautiful complexity of Viking courtship, where courage and tenderness dance together like partners in an ancient ritual. Thorstein's resilience in battle mirrors the patience required for true love. Both demand sacrifice, both reward those brave enough to see them through. The crowd's cheering has faded, but the warmth of their approval still surrounds the victorious couple. Love has triumphed, not through conquest, but through the willingness to risk everything for another's happiness. As this chapter of their story closes, we see Thorstein and Ingrid walking hand in hand toward their future. The morning that began with the threat of violence has transformed into an affirmation of love's enduring power. His wounds will heal, but the memory of this victory will sustain them both forever. The settlement returns to its daily rhythms, enriched by witnessing true honor in action. Sometimes the greatest battles are fought not for conquest, but for the privilege of loving freely. Chapter 9, Sealing the Bond. Betrothal Rituals. The morning light filters through the great hall as Thorstein stands before the elders, his victory still fresh in their minds, still echoing in their hearts. One by one, the weathered faces nod in approval, their beards gray with wisdom, their eyes bright with respect. Today marks not just the end of his trials, but the beginning of something beautiful, something that will bind two souls together in the ancient way of their people. The eldest among them steps forward, his voice carrying the weight of generations before him. "Young warrior," he says, placing a gnarled hand on Thorstein's shoulder, "you have proven yourself worthy, not just in battle, but in heart." The words hang in the air like incense, sacred and meaningful. Around them, the hall grows quiet, expectant. Even the fire seems to burn more softly, as if understanding the gravity of this moment. Ingrid waits in the adjacent chamber, her heart beating like a hummingbird's wings. She can hear the muffled voices through the wooden walls, the rise and fall of masculine tones. Her fingers trace the intricate embroidery on her dress, each thread telling its own story of patience and hope. Outside, the wind whispers through the birch trees, as if nature itself holds its breath for what's to come, for what has always been destined. The formal betrothal begins with ancient words spoken in the old tongue that their ancestors knew, words that have sealed countless unions across the centuries. The elders form a circle around Thorstein and Ingrid, their presence both protective and ceremonial. Candlelight dances across their faces, casting shadows that seem to move with the rhythm of time itself. This is more than ceremony. It's the weaving of two lives into one unbreakable thread. Now comes the exchange of swords, a Viking tradition as old as the northern winds. Thorstein presents his blade to Ingrid's father, the steel gleaming in the firelight, not as a weapon, but as a symbol of protection, of his promise to guard what is precious. In return, he receives her dowry, not gold or silver, but items that speak of home, of the life they will build together. Warm wool, carved boxes, precious family heirlooms. The ceremony deepens as they move to the ritual of binding, their hands joined with silken cords, each knot tied with intention and blessing. As these cords unite, so do your hearts. The elder speaks, his voice soft as falling snow. The bindings are not meant to constrain, but to strengthen, like the roots of two trees growing together, creating something more beautiful than either could be alone, something that can weather any storm. Ingrid's voice trembles as she speaks her vows, words she has carried in her heart through long winter nights. I bind my strength to yours, she whispers, my courage to your courage, my dreams to your dreams. Her eyes shine with unshed tears, not of sorrow, but of overwhelming joy. Thorstein listens as if memorizing every syllable, every breath, knowing these words will echo in his heart for all his days. Thorstein's response comes from the depths of his soul. I offer you not just my protection, but my tenderness, he says, not just my strength, but my gentleness. I will be your harbor in storms, your companion in calm seas. His words paint pictures of the life they will share, of quiet mornings and starlit evenings, of children's laughter filling their hall, of growing old together under the same northern sky. The feast begins as the sun reaches its zenith. Long tables groan under the weight of celebration, roasted meats that have been turning over fires since dawn, fresh bread that fills the air with warmth, mead that flows like liquid gold. But more than food, this is a feast of joy. Neighbors and kinfolk gathering to witness love, to add their blessings to this union, to become part of the story being written. Stories flow as freely as the ale, tales of great loves from ages past, of couples who weathered impossible odds, of bonds that death itself could not break. The elders share wisdom while the young ones listen, learning that love is not just feeling, but action, and when not just passion, but commitment. Each story adds another layer to the tapestry of this celebration, another reason to believe in lasting love. Music rises from skilled fingers on worn instruments, melodies that speak what hearts cannot say, drums that beat like the pulse of the earth itself, voices joining in harmony, creating something larger than themselves. Thorstein and Ingrid sit side by side, their shoulders touching, their breathing synchronized, already moving as one, their faces glowing, not just from firelight, but from the radiance of shared joy and anticipated tomorrows. As evening approaches, the formal declaration begins, the moment that will announce their betrothal to the world. The great doors of the hall swing open, letting in the cool evening air and the last golden rays of daylight. This is where private becomes public, where personal commitment becomes community celebration, where two hearts beating together invite the whole village to witness, to remember, to honor. The herald's voice carries across the settlement, announcing what everyone has hoped to hear. Let it be known that Thorstein, son of Eric, and Ingrid, daughter of Magnus, are betrothed. His words echo off the surrounding hills, reaching every corner of their community. Children stop their games to listen. Women smile and nod. Men raise their cups in salute. The news spreads like ripples on still water. Under the first stars of evening, Thorstein and Ingrid stand together at the threshold of the hall, no longer just two individuals, but a partnership blessed by tradition, by community, by the very cosmos above them. Their hands are still bound by the ceremonial cords, but their hearts are bound by something far stronger, by choice, by love, by the promise of all their tomorrows stretching ahead like an endless horizon. The celebration continues into the night, but our lovers steal a moment of quiet together, walking to the edge of the firelight, breathing in the cool night air, listening to the distant sound of waves against the shore. "We did it," Ingrid whispers, and Thorstein nods, knowing she means more than just the betrothal. They have found each other across all the obstacles, all the trials, all the moments when love seemed impossible. As we leave them there, hands entwined beneath the northern stars, we carry with us the warmth of their love, the beauty of commitment freely given, the hope that lives in every heart, brave enough to love. Their story continues beyond our telling, beyond this moment, into the realm of happily ever after, where all true love stories find their home. Sweet dreams, and may your own love story be filled with such tender magic. Chapter 10: Shields and Swans. The Wedding Preparations. Dawn breaks over the Norse settlement, casting golden light across wooden halls where wedding preparations have begun in earnest. The air hums with anticipation as families gather, mothers examining fine linens, fathers sharpening ceremonial blades, children scampering between the adults, their laughter mixing with the gentle sounds of mourning. Today marks the beginning of sacred rituals that will transform two souls into one, binding them before the gods. In the weaving halls, skilled hands work intricate patterns into bridal garments. Threads of gold and silver catch the firelight as they're woven into ceremonial robes. Each stitch carries meaning, each pattern tells a story. The bride's dress takes shape with symbols of fertility and protection. Swans embroidered along the hem, their graceful necks intertwining, while the groom's tunic bears shields and ravens, symbols of strength and wisdom. These garments will carry their wearers into a new life together. The ceremonial cloaks require the finest materials, imported silks from distant lands, mixed with local wool, dyed in colors that speak to the gods, deep blues like the ocean depths, rich reds like autumn leaves. Silver clasps shaped like Thor's hammer will fasten these sacred garments, each piece blessed by the village elders, as seamstresses work by candlelight. Their voices rise in ancient songs, melodies that have accompanied countless weddings, weaving protection into every thread, binding love into every seam. Outside, the longhouse transforms under gentle hands. Bundles of fragrant herbs hang from every beam: lavender for peace, rosemary for remembrance, sage for wisdom. Their sweet scents mingle with the wood smoke, creating an atmosphere both sacred and welcoming. Young women gather wild flowers from meadows still kissed by morning dew, white roses for purity, red poppies for passion. Their petals will carpet the floor, where vows will be spoken, where two families become one. The herb gathering becomes a ritual of its own. Experienced women lead the younger ones through fields and forests, teaching them which plants bring luck to marriages: mint for prosperity, thyme for courage, chamomile for gentle love. They move like a procession through the landscape, their voices soft as they share stories of weddings past, baskets filling with nature's blessings, each herb chosen with care, each stem cut with reverence, preparing the sacred space where love will be celebrated. In the stables, the most solemn preparation takes place. The selection of the sacrificial horse, this magnificent creature, chosen for its strength and beauty, will carry prayers to the gods. The ceremony master approaches with reverence, speaking softly to the animal, offering it the finest hay, the purest water. This is not a moment of violence, but of sacred exchange. The horse's spirit will ensure the marriage receives divine blessing, its sacrifice honored by all who witness. The horse stands calmly, as if understanding its sacred role, its coat brushed until it gleams like polished bronze, mane braided with ribbons and small bells that chime softly with each movement. Children approach with apples and sweet grass, their innocent offerings accepted with gentle nods. The stable fills with quiet prayers, whispered requests for prosperity, for children, for long life together. This noble creature will bridge the world of mortals and gods, ensuring the marriage begins with divine favor. Throughout the settlement, every dwelling contributes to the transformation, doors painted with protective symbols, windows adorned with garlands of oak leaves and ivy. The very air seems to shimmer with anticipation. Merchants arrive with exotic spices, rare wines, precious metals for gift giving, their carts creaking under the weight of celebration. Even the humblest homes display their finest linens, their most cherished heirlooms. The entire village becomes a stage for love's greatest performance. Streets that usually echo with the sounds of daily labor now ring with laughter and song. Children run between the houses, their arms full of flower petals. Young men carry heavy timber for the feast tables, their voices joining in working songs that echo across the fjord. Older women supervise the bread making, massive loaves that will feed the celebrating crowds. The very stones of the settlement seem to pulse with joy, as if the earth itself celebrates this union. The feast preparations require the skills of every cook in the village. Great cauldrons bubble over open fires, filled with rich stews, seasoned with imported spices, whole salmon roasted on spits, their silver skin crackling in the flames. Honeyed mead ages in wooden casks, its golden sweetness growing more perfect with each passing hour. Round loaves of bread bake in stone ovens, their crusts golden brown, the aromas drifting through every street, promising abundance and joy. Tables stretch the length of the great hall, their surfaces polished smooth as glass, covered with linen cloths embroidered by 3 generations of women. Silver cups and plates gleam in the firelight, each piece a family treasure. Chairs arranged to accommodate both families, positioning that honors ancient protocols of hospitality and respect. Candles stand ready to be lit. Their flames will witness the joining of 2 bloodlines, the creation of new kinship bonds that will last generations. As twilight approaches, the community gathers in the great hall. Voices blend in, harmonious greeting. Old friends embrace, children chase between adult legs. The hall fills with warmth that goes beyond the blazing hearths. This is the eve of celebration, when stories must be told and songs must be sung, when the wisdom of ages passes from elder lips to younger ears, preparing hearts for tomorrow's sacred ceremony. The storyteller rises, his voice carrying across the assembled crowd. Tales of legendary lovers flow like honey, stories of couples who faced impossible odds, who chose love over kingdoms, sacrifice over safety. Each story a lesson, each lesson a blessing for the couple soon to wed. The audience listens with rapt attention, children wide-eyed with wonder, adults nodding with recognition. These stories become part of the couple's foundation, wisdom woven into their beginning. Musicians take their places as the storyteller sits, harps and flutes join voices in ancient wedding songs. melodies that have blessed unions for countless generations. The bride and groom sit together, hands intertwined, their faces glowing in the firelight. Surrounded by all who love them, the music weaves around them like a protective charm, each note a wish for happiness, each harmony a prayer for enduring love. The very walls seem to pulse with celebration. The songs grow more joyful as the night deepens. Dancing begins spontaneously. Couples young and old join hands. Children mimic their elders' steps. Laughter rings from the rafters. Even the most reserved elders tap their feet to the rhythm. The hall becomes a whirlwind of color and movement, skirts swirling, boots stomping. The very floorboards vibrate with celebration. This is community at its most beautiful, love shared by all. As the celebration winds toward its peaceful end, guests offer final toasts, voices raised in blessing and good wishes. The bride and groom receive gifts with grateful hearts, each offering a token of support for their new life. Slowly, families begin to drift homeward, children carried sleeping in strong arms. The great hall grows quiet, but remains warm with love's presence. Tomorrow will bring the wedding ceremony, but tonight has already blessed this union with community's embrace. Chapter 11, Ingrid's Veil. A Viking Wedding. The morning sun rises over the fjord, casting golden light across the settlement as this sacred day begins. Ingrid's heart beats with quiet anticipation, her hands steady as she prepares for the ritual that will bind her soul to Thorstein's forever. The air carries the scent of pine and sea salt, while distant sounds of preparation echo through the village. Today, two hearts become one under the watchful eyes of the gods. In her family's longhouse, Ingrid's mother and sisters gather around her, their gentle hands weaving flowers into her hair, adjusting the delicate veil that has been passed down through generations. Each thread tells a story of love and devotion. The fabric whispers against her skin as they work in reverent silence, preparing their daughter, their sister, for this most sacred transition. The ritual clothing carries the blessings of ancestors who walked this path before her. Across the settlement, Thorstein stands with his kinsmen, his weathered hands polishing the ancestral sword that will soon symbolize his protection and devotion. The blade gleams in the morning light, each mark on its surface telling tales of honor and courage. His father's voice carries wisdom as they speak of marriage, of the sacred responsibility he's about to embrace. The weight of tradition settles on his shoulders like a comfortable cloak. The wedding ground awakens with gentle activity. Family members and friends gather in a circle beneath the open sky, where the gods can witness this union. Wooden benches are arranged in sacred patterns, while garlands of wildflowers and evergreen boughs create natural boundaries. The scent of burning herbs drifts on the breeze, creating an atmosphere of reverence and celebration. The earth itself seems to pause in anticipation of this ancient ceremony. As the ceremony begins, the priest raises his voice to call upon the gods. His words carry across the gathered crowd, invoking Frigg's blessing for a harmonious marriage and Odin's wisdom for the journey ahead. The ancient syllables flow like poetry, connecting this moment to countless generations who have spoken these same sacred words. The air itself seems to shimmer with divine presence as the community bears witness. Ingrid steps forward, her veil catching the gentle breeze as she moves with quiet grace. Her eyes find Thorstein's across the sacred space, and in that gaze, years of courtship and growing love culminate in this perfect moment. The community watches in respectful silence as she approaches the altar stone, where symbols of their union wait. Her heart beats steadily, filled with certainty and joy for the path they're choosing together. Before the assembled witnesses, Ingrid and Thorstein speak their vows, not rehearsed words, but promises flowing from their hearts. They pledge to stand together through harsh winters and abundant summers, to share both burden and blessing. Their voices carry clearly across the circle, each word a sacred bond being forged. The gods listen as they promise loyalty, love, and partnership in all things, sealing their commitment with ancient and powerful words. Now comes the moment when Ingrid must part with her maiden knife, the small blade that has been her companion since childhood, symbolizing her independence and strength. With steady hands, she lifts the knife from her belt, its familiar weight, a reminder of the woman she's been. She places it gently on the altar stone, not as surrender, but as transformation, embracing her new role, while honoring her journey to this moment. The maiden knife gleams on the stone altar, its polished surface reflecting years of faithful service. This isn't just a blade, but a symbol of Ingrid's capability and wisdom. As she releases it, the gathered women nod with understanding. They too remember this tender moment of transition. The knife will be blessed and kept safe, a reminder that strength takes many forms and that love enhances rather than diminishes a woman's power. Thorstein steps forward, his ancestral sword held reverently in both hands. This blade has protected his family for generations, its steel tested in both battle and peace. He presents it to Ingrid, not as burden, but as symbol of his commitment. With this gift, he pledges to protect and provide, to stand as her shield against life's storms. The sword's weight speaks of responsibility, willingly accepted, love expressed through promise of protection. Ingrid's hands close around the sword's hilt, feeling its perfect balance, its legacy of honor flowing through her fingers. This exchange represents the beautiful reciprocity of their union, where her wisdom and his strength, her insight and his protection, combine to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The blade catches the sunlight as she lifts it, accepting both the gift and the sacred responsibility it represents with quiet dignity. The gaudy binds their hands with woven cord, each knot a prayer for their happiness. The binding is gentle but strong, like the marriage it represents. As the cord wraps around their wrists, Ingrid and Thorstein feel the physical symbol of their spiritual union. Their fingers intertwine naturally, comfortably. The watching crowd murmurs soft blessings as the final knots are secured, sealing their commitment in the eyes of gods and community alike. With the binding complete, the formal ceremony transforms into joyous celebration. The couple's hands are unbound, but their connection remains strong as they turn to face their community as husband and wife. Cheers and well wishes fill the air like music. Children scatter flower petals at their feet, while elders offer blessings. The sacred circle becomes a place of jubilation as two families unite in happiness and hope for the future. The wedding feast unfolds with generous abundance, long tables groan under the weight of roasted meats, fresh bread, and honeyed mead. Ingrid and Thorstein sit together at the place of honor, their faces glowing with contentment as they share their first meal as husband and wife. Stories and songs weave through the gathering like golden threads, connecting this celebration to the rich tapestry of their community's history and traditions. As evening deepens, the celebration continues with music and gentle laughter. Skilled storytellers share tales of legendary lovers, their voices rising and falling with ancient rhythms. Young couples dance while children play at the edges of firelight. The feast becomes a living tapestry of community joy, where every guest feels part of something larger than themselves. The warmth of shared celebration filling hearts with contentment and peace. Under a canopy of stars, Ingrid and Thorstein's wedding day draws to its peaceful close. The celebration winds down naturally, leaving them surrounded by the gentle warmth of community blessing. Their journey together has officially begun, blessed by gods and witnessed by loved ones. The night air carries the last echoes of laughter and song, while two hearts beat in rhythm, secure in their love and ready for whatever adventures await them tomorrow. Chapter 12, Bonds and Beginnings. A new chapter. The wedding feast has ended. The last guest departed. Now comes the quiet magic of beginning again. Our newlyweds stand at the threshold of their longhouse, hands intertwined, hearts beating as one. The carved wooden doorframe seems to whisper ancient blessings, welcoming them into this sacred space where two lives will merge into something entirely new, something beautiful, something enduring. The longhouse stretches before them like a promise, timber walls seasoned by countless storms, hearthstones worn smooth by generations of families. Sunlight filters through small windows, casting golden patterns across the earthen floor. She traces her fingers along the wooden beams while he watches, both understanding they're not just entering a dwelling, they're stepping into their shared destiny, their sanctuary, their beginning. Morning arrives with gentle purpose. She tends the fire while he repairs fishing nets. Their movements create a quiet symphony of partnership. No words needed, just the comfortable rhythm of two souls learning to dance together. The smell of porridge mingles with wood smoke, creating the first of countless mornings that will define their shared story. Each small task becomes an act of devotion. Their days flow like gentle rivers. She weaves while sharing stories of her childhood. He carves wooden bowls while describing distant fjords. He's sailed. Laughter bubbles up naturally, punctuating conversations that stretch from sunrise to starlight. These are the moments that matter, not grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but the simple joy of discovering each other, one story at a time. When storms rage outside, they huddle close by the fire, her head on his shoulder as he hums old sailing songs. The wind may howl and rain may pound the roof, but within these walls, they've created something unshakable. Their love grows strongest in quiet moments like these, when the world disappears and only they remain, warm, safe, complete. Responsibilities become shared pleasures. Together they tend the vegetable garden, hands dirty from rich soil, faces bright with possibility. She plants herbs for healing, while he sows barley for bread. Each seed carries hope for their future. Each harvest will feed not just their bodies, but their dreams. This is how love grows, slowly, steadily, deeply rooted. Summer evenings find them walking along the shore, footprints joining in wet sand, as waves whisper ancient secrets. She collects shells while he skips stones across calm water. Their conversations meander like the coastline, touching on everything and nothing, building intimacy through shared silence and gentle words. These twilight wanderings become their sacred tradition, their time to simply be. Not every day unfolds smoothly. Disagreements arise over household decisions, voices raised in frustration before softening into understanding. She favors one method while he prefers another, but they learn that compromise isn't surrender. It's the art of creating something better together. Each resolved conflict makes their bond stronger, more flexible, more real, more lasting. Autumn brings its own challenges, preserving food for winter, reinforcing the longhouse against coming storms. The work is hard, but their spirits remain light. They steal moments for tenderness between tasks, a gentle touch while passing, shared smiles over evening meals. These small gestures remind them why they chose this life, this person, this beautiful struggle called marriage. Winter nights grow long and intimate. They sit by firelight, sharing dreams and fears, her hand resting on her still flat belly, as they speak of children yet to come. He describes the father he hopes to be, while she imagines tiny hands reaching for hers. Their love expands to embrace these future souls, already making room in their hearts for the family they're creating. The first signs appear like whispered promises. Her morning sickness met with his gentle care, bringing water, holding her hair, soothing her with patient words. They both know what this means, but speak of it carefully, reverently, as if words might break the magic. Their joy is quiet, but profound, a secret shared between hearts, between bodies, between souls. As her belly begins to round, their tenderness deepens. He places protective hands over the growing life within her, feeling for the first precious movements. She watches his face transform with wonder, seeing the father emerging in his gentle touch, his soft words to their unborn child. Love multiplies in ways they never imagined, filling their longhouse with anticipation. Neighbors begin to notice, offering advice and assistance. The older women share wisdom about childbirth, while men discuss providing for growing families. Their private joy becomes part of the community's celebration. Yet, in quiet moments, they remain just two people, marveling at the miracle they've created, the future they're building, the legacy taking root. Spring arrives with promises of renewal. She tends seedlings while he prepares a larger garden, both knowing they're not just planning for summer's harvest, but for years of abundance ahead. Their child will run through these same rows, learn from this same soil. The longhouse echoes with imagined laughter, future memories waiting to unfold. As her time draws near, they speak of deeper things, the values they'll teach, the stories they'll share, the world they want to leave behind. He vows to be strong yet gentle. She promises to be wise yet playful. Together they're weaving the fabric of their child's future, thread by precious thread, creating a tapestry of love that will endure. The chapter closes with them standing together at their threshold, her hand on her full belly, his arm around her shoulders, the same doorway that welcomed them as newlyweds now prepares to receive their growing family. They've learned that love isn't just feeling, it's choosing every day, through joy and trial, through beginning and becoming. Their greatest adventure lies just ahead. Chapter 13, Longship Lullabies. The fruit of love. The morning mist clings to the fjord as anticipation fills the long house. Inside, the gentle rhythm of preparation echoes through timber walls, and women gather with knowing smiles, their hands carrying ancient wisdom passed down through generations. Today marks the culmination of months of waiting. The air thrums with quiet excitement as the village prepares to welcome its newest member into the world. Everything feels sacred, purposeful, deeply connected. In Norse tradition, childbirth was never a solitary journey. The expectant mother finds herself surrounded by the village's most experienced women. Their voices weave together like a protective circle, sharing stories of their own births. These wise matriarchs bring herbs gathered from summer meadows, warm cloths prepared with care. Their presence transforms the longhouse into a sanctuary, each woman understanding her vital role in this ancient dance of life. community strength flowing like a gentle river. As dawn breaks over the settlement, word spreads quietly through the village. Children pause their morning games, sensing something momentous approaching. The blacksmith's hammer falls silent. Fishermen mending nets look up with gentle anticipation. Even the livestock seem to sense the sacred nature of this day. This collective awareness speaks to the Viking understanding that every new life belongs not just to parents, but to the entire community, a shared blessing about to unfold. The longhouse fills with the soft sounds of preparation, woolen blankets warmed by the central fire, clean linens arranged with tender care. A wooden cradle carved by loving hands waits nearby, its surface polished smooth, decorated with protective runes. The scent of juniper and birch bark mingles with wood smoke, creating an atmosphere of warmth and safety. These preparations speak to Viking values, where practical needs merge seamlessly with spiritual protection and communal love. Outside, the father paces with nervous energy, his warrior's courage tested in an entirely new way. Fellow men gather around him, offering quiet support through shared understanding. They speak in low tones of their own experiences, how the strongest shields and sharpest swords mean nothing in these moments, only patience, prayer, and trust in the ancient rhythms of life. Their presence reminds him that vulnerability shared among brothers creates strength beyond any battlefield victory. As the sacred moment approaches, the village midwife takes her place with calm authority. Her weathered hands have guided countless souls into the world. She carries generations of knowledge in her gentle touch, brewing teas from meadowsweet and raspberry leaf, speaking words of encouragement that flow like ancient songs. Her presence brings peace to the longhouse, reminding everyone that this miracle has happened countless times before, yet remains completely unique and precious. The first cry pierces the morning air like a victory song, immediately answered by gasps of joy and tears of relief. Throughout the longhouse, the midwife's gentle laughter mingles with the mother's exhausted sobs of happiness. Outside, the father's knees give way as overwhelming emotion washes over him. His companions steady him with proud grins. The village cat even seems to purr louder, as if the entire settlement celebrates this newest soul joining their clan. Word spreads through the village like ripples on still water. Children abandon their games, running to share the news. The baker pauses in kneading bread, flour-dusted hands pressed to her heart. Fishermen returning from the fjord hear the celebration and quicken their pace. Even the elderly, who have witnessed countless births, feel their eyes brighten with renewed wonder. This shared joy demonstrates how deeply Vikings understood that every child strengthens the entire community's future. Inside the warm longhouse, the newborn rests against their mother's chest, tiny fingers already showing signs of strength. The mother's face glows with exhausted joy, her warrior's heart softened by this ultimate victory. Around them, the attending women beam with satisfaction, their ancient knowledge having guided another soul safely into the world. Soft murmurs of blessing fill the air, each woman understanding her part in this sacred circle of life and continuity. The father enters with reverent steps, his usual bold stride replaced by awed gentleness. Seeing his child for the first time brings tears he never expected. Calloused hands that have gripped sword and oar now tremble as they reach toward this tiny miracle. His voice catches as he whispers the first words of welcome. The attending women smile knowingly, having witnessed countless warriors transformed by this moment when strength finds its true purpose in protection and love. As evening approaches, the village gathers for the naming ceremony, a sacred tradition that formally welcomes the child into the clan. The baby rests in their father's arms while the community forms a protective circle. The village elder steps forward, his aged voice carrying the weight of generations. He speaks the child's chosen name 3 times, each repetition binding the infant more deeply to their people, their identity and belonging, now forever secured. The naming ritual continues as water from the sacred spring is sprinkled gently on the baby's forehead, symbolizing their connection to the land and ancestors. The elder presents a small silver pendant, its runes promising protection and prosperity. Village members step forward one by one, each offering a quiet blessing or gift: a carved toy boat, soft rabbit fur, honey cakes for the mother, creating a treasury of community love surrounding this newest clan member. The celebration flows naturally from ceremony into feast, tables laden with the village's finest offerings. Roasted fish caught that morning, bread still warm from the ovens, mead poured freely to honor this joyous occasion. Laughter echoes through the settlement as stories are shared, tales of other births, childhood adventures, dreams for this new soul's future. The entire community united in celebration, their bonds strengthened through shared joy and collective hope. As the feast winds down and torches burn low, the new parents retreat to the quiet sanctuary of their home. The baby sleeps peacefully in the handcrafted cradle. Mother and father gaze down with wonder that never seems to fade. Outside, the village settles into peaceful slumber. But inside this small family circle, everything feels transformed, their hearts expanded beyond what they thought possible, love taking on deeper meaning and purpose. The mother traces gentle patterns on her child's soft skin, whispering promises of protection and guidance. The father watches with eyes full of dreams, imagining teaching this small soul about honor, courage, and compassion, about the old stories and new possibilities. Their love creates an invisible shield around this precious life, stronger than any armor, more enduring than any monument. This is the Vikings' greatest treasure, family bond forged in tenderness. The longhouse grows quiet as 3 hearts beat in peaceful rhythm. Outside, stars reflect on the fjord's calm surface. The village sleeps contentedly, knowing their numbers have grown by one precious soul. This new family huddles together in warmth and infinite love, ready to face whatever adventures await, their future bright with possibility, surrounded by a community that will always welcome them home. The fruit of love now flowering into tomorrow's promise and beyond. Chapter 14: Battered Shields. The trials of parenting. As seasons pass, our Viking couple faces their greatest challenge yet. Not the fury of battle or the harsh northern winters, but something far more profound: raising a child in the unforgiving world of the Norse. The baby's first cries echo through their longhouse, a sound that fills their hearts with both overwhelming joy and deep primal fear, for they know the trials that lie ahead in shaping a true Viking warrior. In those early months, tender moments unfold like precious gems hidden in rough stone. The father, whose hands once gripped battle axes, now cradles his child with infinite gentleness. His calloused fingers trace the baby's soft cheek as he whispers ancient lullabies passed down through generations. While outside, snow falls silently over their village. Inside their home glows with warmth. The mother watches, her heart swelling with love, as she witnesses her fierce warrior transformed into something beautifully vulnerable. But as their child grows, the weight of Viking tradition presses upon their shoulders. The elders speak in hushed tones about the tests that await, the trials that separate true Vikings from the weak. The couple exchanges worried glances over their evening meal, knowing that love alone cannot shield their child from what lies ahead. They must prepare him for a world that shows no mercy to the unprepared, yet their hearts ache at the thought of hardening his gentle spirit. Training begins before dawn breaks over the fjords. The father leads his son to the practice grounds, wooden sword in hand, breath visible in the cold morning air. Each lesson is a delicate balance, teaching strength without crushing spirit, instilling courage without breeding cruelty. The boy stumbles, falls, rises again, and with each small victory, his parents' pride mingles with a bittersweet understanding. They are watching their child's innocence slowly transform into something harder, more necessary for survival. The mother takes charge of teaching the deeper mysteries, the runes that hold their history, the stories that carry their values, the sacred rituals that connect them to their ancestors. By flickering candlelight, she shares tales of honor and sacrifice, her voice gentle but firm. The child listens with wide eyes, absorbing not just the words, but the passion with which she speaks. These moments become precious threads, weaving the fabric of identity that will clothe him throughout his life. Seasons turn, and their son grows taller, stronger, more confident. Yet doubt creeps into the parents' hearts like frost through cabin walls. Are they preparing him well enough? Have they struck the right balance between tenderness and toughness? Late at night, after the child sleeps, they lie awake whispering their fears. The weight of responsibility feels heavier than any armor they've ever worn, for they know that their love, however fierce, cannot fight his battles for him. The first real test arrives like a storm on a clear day. The village elders announce the trials for the young ones, tests of strength, courage, and wisdom that have claimed many before. The parents' hearts clench as they watch their son's face light up with excitement rather than fear. He sees adventure where they see danger. His eagerness both fills them with pride and pierces them with terror. The duality of parenting laid bare in a single moment of realization. Preparation intensifies as the trial date approaches. Every spare moment becomes a lesson. Every conversation carries weight. The father demonstrates weapon techniques with renewed urgency, while the mother reinforces the mental fortitude needed to face fear. They see their child absorbing everything, his young mind like fertile soil, drinking in their teachings, yet beneath their instruction lies a current of desperation, the knowledge that soon they must release him into a world beyond their protection. On the eve of the trials, the family sits together by their hearth. The flames cast dancing shadows on their faces as they share what might be their last quiet evening. The father's voice carries deeper emotion than usual as he tells stories of legendary warriors. The mother's hands tremble slightly as she adjusts their son's clothes. The boy, sensing the gravity but not fully understanding, peppers them with questions, his innocent excitement, a stark contrast to their barely contained anxiety. Dawn arrives with cruel swiftness. The village gathers as children prepare to face their destiny. Parents stand in tight clusters, their faces masks of forced confidence, hiding oceans of worry. Our couple watches their son join the line of young Vikings, his shoulders squared with determination they helped build. The mother reaches for the father's hand, their fingers intertwining like their souls. In this moment, they understand that parenting is the ultimate act of courage, loving someone enough to let them go. The trials unfold with ancient ceremony, each test designed to strip away pretense and reveal true character. The parents watch from the sidelines, their hearts beating in rhythm with their son's struggles. When he stumbles, they feel the impact. When he succeeds, they soar. Their love becomes a living thing, reaching across the distance to offer strength even as they remain powerless to intervene. They learn that true parenting means believing in your child's ability to overcome what you yourself fear. Hours pass like years. The trials push the children to their limits and beyond. Some falter, some excel. All emerge changed. The parents witness not just their son's transformation, but their own. They see that their love hasn't weakened him, but given him a foundation strong enough to build upon. Every value they instilled, every lesson they taught, every moment of care they provided, all of it converges in this crucible, forging something stronger than they dared hope. When the trials end and their son emerges victorious, the parents feel a complex mixture of emotions. Pride swells in their chests like a rising tide, but it's tempered by the bittersweet recognition that their child has crossed a threshold from which there's no return. He stands taller now, carries himself differently. The boy who left at dawn has returned as something new, a young Viking forged in the fires of tradition and strengthened by the love they poured into his foundation. In the celebration that follows, the family reunites with new understanding. The son looks at his parents with eyes that hold deeper appreciation for their sacrifices. The parents see their child with profound respect for his courage. They realize that love isn't diminished by letting go, it's multiplied. Their relationship has evolved from protector and protected to something richer, a bond between equals who've weathered the storm of growing up together, each changed by the experience. As night falls over their village, the family sits together once more, but this time the dynamic has shifted subtly. The son shares his experiences with newfound maturity, while the parents listen with the wisdom of those who've successfully guided someone they love through transformation. They understand now that parenting isn't about creating a perfect child, but about nurturing a strong spirit. Their love has become what the elders promised, a shield, battered by trials but never broken, stronger for having been tested. The chapter closes on this image of togetherness, three figures silhouetted against the warmth of their hearth, bound by love that has proven its strength. They face their future with unyielding courage and unwavering devotion, knowing that whatever challenges lie ahead, they will meet them as they have everything else, together. Their story echoes through time, a testament to love's enduring power, not as something fragile to be protected, but as something mighty enough to protect others, a legacy written in courage and sealed with devotion. Chapter 15. Calm seas ahead, voyaging into the twilight. As golden light filters through weathered shutters, we find ourselves in the quiet sanctuary of time's gentle passage. Our Viking couple, now silver-haired and wise, sit together by their hearth. The fire crackles softly, casting dancing shadows on faces etched with decades of shared stories. Their hands, weathered by countless seasons, rest intertwined, a testament to love that has weathered every storm. The years have been kind to their bond, deepening it like wine, aging in sacred barrels. Through her eyes, we see reflections of the young woman who once stood trembling before ritual challenges. In his gaze, the fierce warrior who learned that true strength lies not in conquest, but in the gentle art of cherishing another soul. Together, they've become living poetry, verses written in the language of enduring devotion. Memories drift through their minds like autumn leaves on still water. She remembers the first time he carved her name into the sacred ash tree, how her heart raced as she deciphered the runes by moonlight. He recalls the day she wove protection spells into his battle cloak, her fingers trembling with both hope and fear. These moments, once fleeting, have become the foundation stones of their shared life. Through trials that would have broken lesser bonds, their love became a beacon. When harvest failed and winter stretched endlessly, they shared their last crust of bread without question. When raiders threatened their village, they stood back to back, shields raised, not just against enemies, but against despair itself. Each challenge met together became another thread in the tapestry of their unbreakable connection. But oh, the joys they've gathered like precious amber, the birth of their children, each one a miracle, wrapped in their combined hopes. Festival nights when they danced until dawn, her laughter rising above the music like birdsong. Quiet mornings when they worked side by side, no words needed, their movements synchronized by decades of partnership. Victories both grand and humble, all made sweeter by sharing. Their love has been a forge, tempering them both into something stronger than they ever imagined. She discovered courage she never knew she possessed, standing firm when his ship disappeared beyond the horizon for months. He learned tenderness that his warrior training never taught, cradling sick children through fever dreams. Together, they became more than the sum of their individual strengths. They became legendary. As twilight deepens around their cottage, we're reminded of the profound rituals that brought them together, those ancient Viking courtship traditions we've explored. The symbolic challenges that seemed so foreign now reveal their deeper wisdom. They weren't just tests of worthiness, but sacred preparations for the journey of lifelong partnership. Each ritual, a stepping stone toward understanding true commitment. The bravery contests, the intricate gift exchanges, the sacred oaths sworn before witnessed flames, all of it wove into the fabric of their society, creating bonds that extended far beyond individual couples. These rituals shaped communities, ensuring that love wasn't just a private affair, but a cornerstone of social strength. Marriages became alliances, partnerships became the foundation of civilization itself. We've discovered that Viking love was never the crude stereotype history suggested. Instead, it was sophisticated, nuanced, deeply spiritual. Their courtship dances told stories of cosmic balance. Their wedding ceremonies honored both fierce independence and willing surrender. Their partnership roles, while different from modern ones, carried profound respect for each person's unique gifts. Love was their religion, practiced daily. Now, in the gentle evening of their lives, our couple embodies all these truths. She tends her herb garden with the same careful attention she once gave to weaving protective charms. He repairs their fence with hands that once wielded battle axes, now finding peace in simple acts of care. Their conversations flow like familiar rivers, comfortable silences punctuated by shared understanding. Watch how they move together even now. Decades later, there's a dance in their daily rhythm. He reaches for the water bucket. Just as she finishes washing, she places bread on the table, precisely when his hunger stirs. Their bodies have memorized each other's needs, their souls attuned to frequencies only they can hear. This is love matured into pure poetry. As evening shadows lengthen, memories cascade like gentle waterfalls. Their first kiss beneath the northern lights, the terror and joy of their first child's birth. Storms weathered, harvests celebrated, sorrows shared, dreams fulfilled. Each memory a jewel in the crown of their shared existence. Time hasn't dimmed these treasures, but polished them to brilliant clarity. Through their example, we understand something profound about resilience. It's not the ability to remain unchanged by life's storms, but the wisdom to bend without breaking, to grow stronger through challenges. Rather than despite them, their love became a living thing, adaptive, responsive, ever evolving, not a fortress against the world, but a garden where both souls could flourish. The sun begins its descent toward the western mountains, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Our couple steps outside their cottage, moving slowly but with dignity. The same hills that witnessed their youthful courtship now embrace them in twilight's gentle arms. The air carries the scent of pine and distant seas. Time moves like honey, golden and sweet. Against the backdrop of the setting sun, their silhouettes merge into a single form, two lives so intertwined that separation seems impossible. Her head rests against his shoulder, his arm encircles her waist. They've become a living rune, their bodies spelling out the ancient word for eternal. The Norse gods themselves would pause to witness such perfect union. As Nordic twilight embraces the earth, we understand that some bonds transcend the boundaries of a single lifetime. Their hands remain clasped, fingers intertwined like the roots of ancient trees. Love like theirs doesn't end with final breath, but continues in the stories passed down, the wisdom shared, the examples lived. They've become legend. Their love, truly everlasting. Sleep now, dear listeners. Dream of such devotion,